Morning, Mr. K.
Okay, so today is our video review, and the topic is about things to consider when buying cars. Yep, and in the video, it actually give a few tips and advice on buying cars, and then what do we need to consider, and also they mention about the cost. Actually, buying a car isn't like an investment; it is so costly, and it costs us so much money, and then we are also losing money every year. Yep, and yeah, I think for this one we more or less have much awareness about buying cars. That is things that really burn money. And yeah, I want to talk about the tips, yeah, the tips that it given in the video. Yeah, the first one, which is like to buy a cars, uh, which is more than 5 years. Yeah, and this one really is the case, which is there is a lot of depreciation within the 5 years. Yeah, and the second one is save up to buy a car in cash. Yeah, this one which I want to discuss with you. Which do you think is it a is it a good way or the best way to save up really to buy a car in cash? Because in the video it says we can save up the money paid for the interest. Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think before discussing this, I also have one question to
Yeah.
ask you.
Yeah.
Uh, mm, is buying the new car really not worth in
Buying a
term
new car. Mm,
yeah in term of the depreciation cost and also in term of the maintenance cost in term of you include everything like
mm,
uh uh like the also the insurance cost. Yeah, if you do a overall cost
mm,
and benefit analysis,
yeah.
what's the real picture? Will you tell me about that?
Mm, okay, I think if we talk about whether it is worth or not, uh, first uh, first thing we want to consider is do are you able to accept a car which is not so comfortable, not so new, uh, didn't look so beautiful? Yeah, if
Mm,
you can accept that, then we talk about the issue of costs and then how
mm,
much we pay for cars. I think second-hand cars is a better choice than a new car. Yeah, the cost aspect.
mm. Yeah, what kind of cost a second-hand car will incur more than a new car?
Yeah, that would be the repairing cost, which is kind of unexpected.
Mm,
And uh, other than that, I think yeah, it's just the repairing and the yeah, repairing cost only. Because for
yeah.
the car servicing, new car actually costs more than the cars more than 5 years.
Mm,
Mm,
mm.
yep.
But
And
how
also
many percent?
insurance.
Yeah. Uh, but how many percent? Uh, the the cost increments. For example, new car you also need maybe like, let's say for example 500 per year maybe. And how
That is for
about
what? For car
oh
servicing, right?
yeah, maybe for new cars,
Mm,
show me your number. Yeah,
mm.
what's your
Uh,
experience? Mm,
talk about my girlfriend's car, which is within 5 years, and the car servicing cost is around less than 400. Yeah, basically,
per
it's
month or
like
per year?
300 per per six. Oh, I'm sorry, that is per half year. So a year it
Okay.
is like 600, or we take a better figure, which is like 700 plus. Yeah, 700 plus
So it's around 15K,
750.
uh, s- uh, s-
15. No, no, a
1.5K.
year.
1.5K?
No. 700 plus is for 1 year
Oh,
car
okay.
servicing. Yeah,
Okay.
it requires 2 times car servicing in a year.
But a new car? How
Yep.
old the car? How old the car?
Right now it is not yet 4 years old. Right now.
Okay, then how about the second-hand car? Let's say like more than 5 years.
Okay, I want to mention something. The car that I talk about is the car which is the market price of the new car is around 50K. Yeah, I didn't say other bigger cars. So if we compare similar cars more than 5 years, yeah, the servicing cost I think for one time is around less than 200. Yeah, it's like 100 plus, maybe 150 a time. And in a year, maybe you need like 300 plus.
You mean a second-hand car actually costs less than new car?
This is only at the aspect of car servicing. It didn't include like maybe something get broken, need to repair it. That is kind of like not easy to 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 forecast or what. Yeah, because sometimes the thing is broken sooner, sometimes it didn't broken for many years.
But you need to take 2 factors, right?
Sorry, what do you say?
I mean, you need to take into consideration. Otherwise, how can you see the whole picture?
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think if you say the repairing cost, I think if you include like 400 to 500 every year, it will be safe and enough for you to use in case there is something broken you need to repair and replace.
So start from 5 to 10 years?
Yes, yeah.
This period you just need around how much? Just now what is the number?
500, and then this is for repairing, replace. 5 years, 5 to 10 years is 5 years, right? So it's
Can you? I'm quite confusing. Sorry. Can you give me the full number, which is
okay.
I want to compare the new and the old car. Give me the full number.
Okay, so I calculate the old car first. Okay, old car just now I talk about the car servicing is around 300 plus, so I take like 350 a year plus we need to save up around 500 per year in case something is broken, need to be repaired and replaced. So the total price is around 850, and yeah, this is the basic cost we can expect to use. And this is old car 850. So we go to the new car servicing a year is around 750. And then repairing cost, I think not really broken. Maybe we take like because it is under warranty, so we can actually take 0 cost with that.
So what's the total?
Yeah, so the total is 750 a year.
How come new car costs you 750 and you don't incur repairing costs? This costs you 750, but an old car costs you 850, but it include the repairing cost. It doesn't make sense to me.
Because the car within 5 years they are under warranty, so if anything broken, they can actually go back to the manufacturer.
I know, but why the total number is 750 if you exclude the repairing cost? Why so high?
Oh, that is the car servicing. Yeah, because you need to go back to your manufacturer or some authorized dealership so that you can get the car servicing. Otherwise, if you go elsewhere, they can like uh, take away your warranty. Yeah, they say you didn't go back to the authorized dealership.
But in my understanding, in my knowledge, you just need to go for the first 3 times, right?
3 times. The first 3 times is like they give you some free, some discount, right? Maybe free labor, yeah, so that you get cheaper. But actually, if you didn't go back, no one can guarantee you they will responsible for anything broken in the future.
Yeah. So what if I after 3 times I don't go back to the authorized workshops, and then
Yep.
I go
So
outside to do the maintenance? What is the cost?
okay, yeah, good point. Starting from new car, we go out to do car servicing. The price will be the same as just now we calculate the old car. So car servicing will be like 350 a year.
You
And
miss a new
repairing,
car? This is
yeah,
okay.
this is only for car servicing and repairing here. I actually think if it is really a new car, it is not very likely that the things will broken often. So I think maybe every year we assign like 100 will be enough
So what's the
for the
total?
first 5 years. So it is like will be 450 a year. Yeah.
And so is it gradually increase, or actually for the first 5 years will be 450 and start from 500, suddenly jump from 450 to 850?
Yeah. It will. I think starting from the 5th year, it will increase. Like you said, suddenly. I think. Yeah, it's almost like that because that is the kind of the planned obsolescence or what they actually know when the parts will started to have problems. So it's like after
Yeah.
5 years is the key time.
Yeah. I see. So what is the cost if we break down into two? Let's say for the 5 to 10 years, right? And how many years you expect you to drive your car? And then if let's say you expect to drive your car 5 years, so that you buy a second-hand car when the car is age 5, and then how about let's say 5 to 7 years compared to like 8 to 10 years? What is the repairing cost? Is it same? Is it similar also the 850?
850. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, within 10 years uh it's still okay, but more than 10 years maybe you need to include more cost in case there are some bigger parts. For example, the gear, the engine, yeah, started to have problems, then the cost will be more than that.
Yeah. Then how about a car start from 10 years to 15 years?
10 to 15. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
let's say compare if you buy the car, you can choose to buy the second-hand car, right? And then let's say you want to buy a second-hand car, and then you have two choices. First is buy the car when it is like 5 years old, and another choice is buy the car at 10 years old. So what is the comparison? Is it better to buy a car? Is it better to buy a 5 years old car or 10 years old car?
yeah, I think I never did the calculation, but I think a 10 years old car may not be worse off. It can be better off because the price of 5 years and 10 years also actually has got some difference. Yeah, the difference is quite big, I think. And yeah, I think really we need to like run the numbers to see whether which is a better choice.
Yeah, because you don't buy a car and use it for only 5 years, right?
Yep.
So if let's say I buy a new car and then I use 10 years. So within these 10 years, the first 5 years, my repairing cost is around 450. Assume I don't go to authorized workshop. And for the remaining 5 years, my repairing cost is around 850.
Yep.
And I won't have much risk because first I'm buying a new car and then the first 3 times I go to authorized workshop, and normally it's the first 6 months, and if any problem and any issue come from the car infections, I mean the original design, maybe some problem that caused by the car manufacturer, I can detect, and then maybe the authorized workshop can also detect it and then help me to solve it. And so that so it's obviously lower risk than buying a second-hand car. Yeah, and also less uncertainty. And so my repairing cost from 0 to 10 years is 450 for the first 5 years and 850 for the second half 5 years. And if I buy a second-hand car, no matter I buy 5 years old or no matter I buy 10 years old, so the first 5 years I will incur 850 for 5 years old car, and then the second half 5 years, we didn't run the number. Maybe it could be higher. And is it much higher than the percentage change from 450 to 850? Is it exponentially grow, or is it like diminishing, or is it like linear?
I think it's quite linear because 450 to 850 is almost double, right? So I think if we go up to starting from 10 years, I think it's around the percentage. Yeah, the increment is quite the same.
Yeah. But how about start from 15 years to 20 years?
Yeah, in that case, I think that will be 1,000 plus. Yeah, that will be more because start from 15 years. Actually, many cars start to have really big problems, and some of them consider to sell the car instead of to repair it.
For example, the engine and the gear, all those things, right? Yeah, I see. So if let's say we buy the car when is it at 5 years old, and 5 years old to 15 years, you use the car 10 years, and and then we run the number. So maybe let's say is like the 850 plus another 400 is around the 1.25K. Yeah. So every year you incurred more 400. So it seems like it's a quite cost saving, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Eric, you just now you add 400 to the 850, right? Yeah, maybe I misunderstand your what you say just now, because I thought 450 increased to 850.
Oh yeah.
What is the percentage?
So just now I talk about percentage change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the growth rate is still actually exponentially grow, right? Even though the
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the percentage remain quite the same, but the numbers actually is exponential.
oh yeah, okay.
Exponential. Mm.
So is this 850 times 2?
Yeah, it's around that. Yeah, you can take
Oh.
like 1.6K or 1.5K around
Mm.
that.
Okay, so let's say we take let's say we take 1.6K. Yeah. So every year you need to incur 800 more. So is it worth for the depreciation? I think it's not worth, right? Because start from 5 years, the depreciation of the car didn't drop much, is it?
Starting from 5 years. Okay. How about we look at the real figure from the website?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to check together, you can also type my car info in
Yeah.
Google, then go to the website.
Yeah, and I checked it before, and
Oh,
actually I also had tried. I also, if I, yeah, rightly if I correctly recall, for example, like the Myvi, and also for example like the, what is it called, the Asia, which is the car from the Polo Dua, and the car value is keep quite well, is it?
Yep.
Even
They
though
have
after
their
five, yeah, even though after 5 years, the car would just drop maybe 30 to 40% at most. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. And especially for me, let's say like the Asia, the car price is very low, and the percentage change, let's say 40%, is it's not a big number.
Yep.
And also maybe it didn't go to 40%. I'm not sure, but I found that if the car price is low, and then the depreciation is also reduced in percentage change. And if the car price is very high, and then it will drop, it will cut a lot. And after a point, and then the depreciations will be very little. Yeah, it's kind of like all the material, including like the engine, like the gear, and like the spare part, and also the steel, have its value. Okay, and so that the car cannot drop under a certain value, and then and of course people will understand the usefulness of the car, so it won't just like trick it like the steel. It won't trick it like just like the spare part, because like the brick is a brick, and but if you combine the brick, it become a house, and you can live in a house, but you cannot live if you have ton of the brick. So when the brick combine together, it create additional value, because it has the added value. So I think it's the same for the car. If you combine all the spare parts, all the steel together, and then you can drive from point A to point B. But if you only have the spare part and the steel in separate form, it can't bring you from point A to point B. So I mean the added value will add onto the car. Yeah. But the idea is still hold true. There is a point which is after crossing the years, and the depreciation is not appealing. I mean, it's not appealing for a person who wants to buy a second-hand car. Yeah. So in this case, if a person consider about the cost more than other thing, and also the person don't care about the comfortable, don't care about whether the car is new or old. And do he really willing to pay a lot of money on car? I think most yes. The answer, of course, is yes. But how many? How often this group of people willing to pay higher price to buy a better car? And also, when you want to buy a car, let's say your budget is 50K, will you choose to buy a new car which costs you 50K and all the functionality is worse, okay? And or you choose to buy a second-hand car, all the functionality is better because the original car price is maybe is 80K or 90K. Yeah. So if a person who only concerned about the cost like me, and the uncertainty is kind of like the cost function. I mean that the cost is a function of uncertainty. Yeah, for second-hand car, which means the uncertainty will increase the cost. Yeah. And the cost come from the greater of the uncertainty. And if I am lucky, I will need to pay more cost and I will get into trouble. Yeah. And maybe my car break down on the route, in the middle of the route of those things. Yeah. And how about the opportunity cost? When I send my car to the workshop and I couldn't drive the car, is also a problem. Yeah, of course. If we just look about the cost, for my case, I buy a new car and I buy a very cheap car. I buy the cheapest car. Yeah, I buy technically the cheapest car I can find in the market, which just cost me around. Yeah, which just cost about like 20K Malaysian ringgit for me. And I'm not the person didn't search for second-hand car. I searched and I found that like 5 years car is like 16K or maybe like 15K. Yeah, at least 15K. And maybe the market price is lower. The market value is lower if you check from the website. But people won't sell that low. People will sell you at the market price. They will sell a little bit higher.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the real market, you couldn't find quote unquote the real market value car. So if you ask me for 5 years, a saving of maybe like 5,000 to 7,000, does it really matter? Yeah. So 1,000 per year, I really not sure. Because of the uncertainty. So yeah. So even though you just considering about the cost, there's still a lot of things because when you factor the uncertainty inside, does it make sense? My discount understanding, or actually we have some way to reduce the risk, reduce the uncertainty?
Yeah, I think the uncertainties is really hard to say, and yeah, we can only like try to reduce, but we couldn't kind of like make it a sure thing. Yeah, it is still uncertain. Even though you buy maybe a more trusted brand or buy from buy from a friend of yours, yeah, you still face the same thing, uncertain. You don't know what will be the cost of repairment, replacement or repair.
Yeah.
Yep. And just now you mentioned like if we buy a new car, which costs around 50K, and compared to another car, maybe it's 5 years car, the market price is also you can get like 50K.
Mm,
In that case, yeah, it's actually quite funny because um, yeah, it can they are comparable. Yeah, and sometimes if you get some car which originally they are expensive, maybe they are like 150K uh, at its original price, and then after 5 years it dropped until 50K, let's say. And that kind of car, if you want to repair, uh, paying by your own, not covered by insurance, the cost sometimes can be very high. Yeah, it depends on what car it is.
mm,
The spare part of them could be very high because originally they are kind of like expensive car.
mm,
Mm, yep.
yeah, yeah, I see.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, and just now you say you buy the cheapest new car. I think that is actually uh one way which is like almost uh the best in terms of the cost consideration. Yep.
mm,
There are a few reasons. First is the depreciation. Yeah, how much they can drop. They are limited because the price at the original price is not high.
mm,
Uh, Second is the cost of repair because the car is it's not expensive car, so the spare parts of them mostly they will not be expensive. Yeah, they were much lower than others. Yep.
mm,
And you can also get a lot of savings like insurance, road tax. Road tax you only need to pay like 20 per year, right?
yeah, yeah.
Compared to some big cars, they can pay like a few hundreds a year.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Mm,
Yeah, I got one customer whose car is Toyota Camry. Yeah, it's not a new one, it's quite old. But what I see is the vehicle card. There is a part which shows the engine capacity. Yeah, and
mm,
I can see that firstly it write 2999, which is like
oh,
2999 cc. And after
mm,
that there is somebody used the pen to cross that 2999 to 2399. So and then there is a signatures beside that. So it means
mm,
that the owner actually take his car to change the engine. Yeah, to
mm,
change from 2999 to 2399. And I'm quite curious at that time, and I tried to search the root tax fee for 2999. Yeah, that is
mm.
like 2000 plus
Wow. Oh
per
my God.
year.
Oh.
Yep. So no wonder the owner want to do that, change the
Mm,
engine. And after changing to 2399, it is still expensive. It is like 800 plus.
oh my God.
Mm. So don't play with the car capacity. It is really a big deal.
Mm,
Yep. And I think the best one is like below 1006. Yeah, because 1006 only costs you 90 per year. But more
mm.
than that, the increment it started to increase a lot.
Yeah, and also it's also one of the cost factor, right?
Mm.
If
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy a let's say that 50K old car compared to 50K new car, of course,
Mm.
they are not the same model. They are not the same, maybe not the same branch.
Yeah.
It's also one of the factor can affect the cost and very
Mm.
much. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm. And and also one of my consideration when I buy the car and I have no intention to sell the car. I will use until the car cannot drive.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm. or maybe after some point we actually don't need a car. Maybe maybe at that time I already retire or I don't know.
Mm.
Uh and even though like at this point I didn't drive my car. So actually I didn't really utilize the car uh the value that provided by my car. Yeah.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
um But this is when you compare no car versus you got car. But what if I buy a more expensive car? Yeah, this is the thing will just get worse if nobody use a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and maybe after some time I replace my car to bicycle, just like the comment of the video, the comment under the
Yeah, I
video.
also saw it.
Yeah, I can save tons and tons of money. And I did calculate this for the road tax and also for the insurance. Okay, and it will cost you around, maybe for my car, like 700 to 800 per year. And if you factor down, if you like quote unquote the monthlize, and it would which means the annual cost divided by 12, it will cost you like
70,
yeah
60.
Around 50 to 60. And also this is just about the insurance plus the road tax. And if you add in the maintenance cost, let's say 300 per month. Let's say no, I mean in this case
year.
the number, yeah, I think the number I put in I forget, but it's also around the same. It's around 600 to 700 per year. Yeah.
Okay.
And if I plus into that, and if you plus other costs, petrol, yeah, and
the installment.
Yeah, and also the installments. Yeah, because let's say after 10 years, if your car have broken and you want to buy a new car, you also need to pay installment. Yeah, this is a part of the cost. And also my installment is around 200. Yeah, and also the last thing, it could be the license, the driving license. It will cost you around 15. Sorry, I think this is not significant, because I think it's cost you around 60 per year, if I'm not wrong, right? Is it 60 per year?
I think it's 30.
Oh yeah, 30 per year. Yeah, but it's not significant. But if you add up together, it will cost you around, I think around at least around 400 to 500 if you plus a petrol fee. Yeah. And yeah, so if you can cut down all the costs, and so what does it mean? It actually means that you just need less cost to retire. And it's much lesser if you run a spreadsheet. Yeah. Okay, and yeah, just now we can go back to the discussion of the point to save money from a car.
Yeah, which I feel confused. Yeah, which is to save up to buy a car in cash. What do you think of this?
I don't think this is a good idea. And for me, okay, and let's one thing is, for most of people, they need car, and they need car when they don't have money, and when they have enough money, sorry, initially I want to say when they have enough money they don't need car, but it's certainly not the case. Yeah, when they have money they still need a car.
Yeah.
But when they started need the car, let's say they graduate and then they need to buy a job, and this is the time they need a car. And at that time they don't have they don't have much saving. How can they spend how can they have enough saving to buy a car in cash?
Yeah, you're right.
And this is the first And the second is from financial viewpoint, it's also, at least to me, I don't think this is not a good idea. Let me tell you why. And give you one idea. For example, when you buy a second-hand car,
Yeah.
and you will have some uncertainty, right? And try to imagine you also can have uncertainty in a positive way, which means you reduce your opportunities. So we can think like the opportunity is the opposite of the uncertainty. Just uncertainty in a negative way or uncertainty in a positive way. Okay, what does it mean? Give you one example that is my personal experience. I buy the car and then I buy the cheapest car, technically the cheapest car, and then I lengthens the number of years. I mean the loan installment. I maximize the loan installment, which
Take the longest.
yeah, I take the longest one without any consideration. When the bank asks me this question, yeah, I say 9. I ask the bank, what's the maximum years? 9 years. Okay, then go for 9 years. Yeah, and the additional 4. Normally people go for 5 years, or some people go for 7 years. The additional 4 or 2 years installments interest, yeah, is actually very little if your car value, if your car price is not high. Okay, you need to look at the proportion. You need to look at the increment. You cannot look at the total interest. Yeah, you need to compare apple to apple. And what does it mean? Let's say, for example, I borrow 15K.
Yeah.
And 1 year interest, let's say, how about 3%, for example, and so 450 per year, and then 450 times maybe 4 or 2 years. So let's say times 4 years. So this is 1,800, and your installment is almost cut half. Yeah, although it didn't cut half, but it's around, maybe cuts around 40%. Yeah, and so that means you have more cash flow. Yeah, although you may seem okay, it is insignificant. Yeah, this is insignificant. Let's say my installment is 200. If I go for 5 years, okay, let's say my installments will become, let's say I use a number, 200 divided by okay, let me see.
Divided by 5 times 9, is it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Divided by 5 times 9. Yeah, it's around 350. Let's say 350. So the additional 150 save per month, it seems not significant. And 150, how much is that? Times 12, times 12 months is around 108, and then times 2 years is around 300, 600. It seems like insignificant, and it seems like why I pay more interest, and also by regaining the additional little cash flow. But let me tell you why.
Yeah.
When I can't, when I first come to Singapore, and I exhausted all my savings, and in my bank account, in my Malaysian bank account, I only left around, I think it's less than 2,000. I forget the number, maybe around 1,000. Yeah. I exhausted all my savings, and then because I need to bring some money into Singapore to cover at least my first month living cost. And also, considering when you first come to Singapore, you need to prepare quite a lot of money, maybe like the 1 month rental cost, the first month rental cost, and then also the first month the deposit, the rental deposit, and plus your cost of living, and also you need to buy something. Yeah, and also you need to prepare some money to cope with the uncertainty. And the amount could be around 5,000 Malaysian ringgit to 10K Malaysian ringgit. It depends. It really depends. Okay, let's say for example, your rental cost is for my case is 450. 450 if you times 2, which is 1 month rental cost and also 1 month rental deposit. 900 times 3 is already 2.7K in Malaysian ringgit. Yeah. If you plus your cost of living and plus some other costs, and also if you didn't find the job by yourself, you choose some agent, and agent may try to ask for the deposits first. After 6 months or after 3 months, the agent will refund to you. Yeah, this is just a deposit because they want to kind of like bind you. If you resign like the within the period they contracted with you, let's say like the 3 months or 6 months, and then the deposit just forfeited. Yeah, but this is the cash flow. This is the cash you need to pay in advance first when you're considering you want to go to Singapore to work. Yeah, so to my case, this is around 5,000 Malaysian ringgit, and I only left around less than 2,000 in my Malaysian bank account, and I still need to pay house installment. I still need to pay the car installment. Yeah, I still need to pay like some other costs. Yeah. So try to imagine I didn't extend the loan installment. How do I get the money, and how can I come to Singapore to work? You may say, okay, I can borrow money. But if you don't have that money, how about the balance on your bank account affect your thoughts, affect your mind? What do I mean? If you have less money and you will think that, okay, now I didn't prepare, I haven't prepared well. Yeah, I need more preparation if I really want to go to Singapore to work. And this is one of thing. And another thing, if you don't have much money, would you even consider go to another country to work if it incurs cost, it incurs uncertainty, it incurs the risk? If you have some money in your pocket, you can think longer. If you have less money on your pocket and you can only focus on something in front of your eyes, you can focus on the daily expenses. You couldn't think longer term. You know that if you go to Singapore to work, after 6 months, you will be better off. Or after 3 months, you definitely will be better off. But can you see the future that long? Yeah, even though it's quite funny, it's just 3 months later, it's just 6 months later. And if in that case you need to borrow money to go to Singapore to work, would it reduce your incentive to do that?
Yeah, it will.
So by considering all these things, you actually narrow your opportunity cost. You narrow your opportunities. There are some opportunities you can grab, but because of your loss of the cash flow, you couldn't see longer terms, and then you lose the opportunity. Yeah. So this is my explanation. This is not fancy. Yeah, and it seems like not maybe for some people it's not intuitive, and it is a lot of uncertainty, and you may say some lucky. Yeah, but opportunity, lucky is a big factor. It's one of big factor in opportunity. Otherwise, why it will call opportunities.
Yeah.
It will just call something the terms which is more certain.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my reason. Don't use cash to buy. And also, if you have the ability, you can outperform the interest. Let's say the interest is cost you like 3%, but by considering the effective rate, it will be around 5 point plus or 6% interest. Yeah, if you can outperform that, and just go for it. For example, you use you use the money you have saved to invest in let's say the SP500, or invest in some other thing. Yeah. Of course, this is involve risk. And if you pay out the interest, yeah, of course, it definitely will save you the money. But if you do the investment with the additional cash flow, you may lose the money and you may be worse off. Yeah, but this is the trade-off you want to make. You want to be a person that just chase for the debt. Yeah, you buy a big item, car, and then you spend 5 years, or you spend maybe less than that. Maybe you spend around 2 to 3 years to save up the money and pay down the debt, and then now you have to buy a next new item, which is the house. And when you buy the house, and you kind of like enter the race again. Yeah, save money, pay down the house, pay down house installment.
Yep.
And you are also take the same risk as other. If you lose your job, everything gone. Yeah, I mean, so if you lose your job and you couldn't find a job, the house gone, no matter how much you have paid.
Right.
Yeah, of course, you will sell your house, but you definitely will sell your house at a cheaper price, because of the market condition at that time is the worst. Yeah. And for those people, maybe they don't pay so much, and then we go bankrupt. But what is the worst case if you go bankrupt? You owe the bank a lot of money, but you declare bankruptcy. No matter you owe the bank 100, no matter you owe the bank 1,000, 10,000, 1 million, 1 billion. Yeah, after you declare the bankruptcy, you don't need to pay the money. So the worst case scenario is really not much different than a person who lost his house and have zero income, has no job, has zero debt also. It's not really worse than that. And yeah, this is how our current system work.
Yeah, so other than maybe the opportunity cost to use the money to invest instead of to save up and use the whole amount of money to buy a car. Beside that, you also mentioned the cash flows, right? Which is money you have so that you can have more opportunity to grab. You can consider, instead of fighting with the cash flows, and then fighting for maybe your next month's living cost.
And you can see longer term. You reduce your time preference. This is very important.
Yeah, and then also in the video it mentioned like renting or leasing the car, or maybe we can hire a car like the Grab car, taxi. Yeah. All of those methods are too expensive, right? At
in
least in
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's also not possible. So I think maybe bicycle. Yeah, bicycle is like a possible
Yeah.
one, and it's really cost saving.
Yeah, the best choice.
Mm. Yep.
Actually, I did consider uh let's say if I have retired, and then yeah, I really can buy a bicycle, and then I can ride to supermarket and buy my grocery and then ride back. It can be a form of exercise. It also can be a tools for me to travel from point A to point B. And
Yep.
if I need to uh, travel a long distance, let's say I need to go to Penang, I need to go to uh, some other cities which which is far from the my current place of living. Yeah. We have quite convenience transportation, even though Malaysians transportation is not it's not very well compared to other countries, but we still have the facility. And also uh, if you drive your car to other cities or to other province, other state, and the petrol cost is is quite quite the same, right? Yeah, quite the same as to your bus ticket. Yeah, and also you incur some risk. And how many car accidents happen on the highway? Yeah, and you are not very experienced driver. Yeah, from let's say from JB to Penang. Yeah, but there are some very expensive driver that drive the route every day. They drive the route every day. So yeah, you outsource this to the free market. And also if you need to travel within the cities, within the state, and then yeah, just grab car, just use like the grab, the taxi, and reduce the frequency of traveling, or ask your friends to take you go. Yeah. Or just don't go. And you can see now the trend, we use car less frequent, and most of the thing can solve uh on online. Yeah, even though now a lot of like a lot of things previously can only be done, and you have to go to the bank or the bank branches to fill the form, to do to 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 show your presence. Nowadays you don't need that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks
And
to
also
the pandemic, push this happen soon.
yeah, and also I saw that some there are some bank actually uh, promote the online bank account registrations. I'm not sure it's a Citibank or what. Yeah. Yeah, you can register the bank account from uh from online, and you don't need to go to the place. Yeah, of course you need some proof of documents. You need some
Verification.
yeah, you need some verification. Or maybe you need uh one of the bank account in other bank. Yeah, so there's a to show your the authentic. Yeah, but it become easier and easier. Yeah, so really we in futures we really don't need the car so often.
Yes.
And also how about the house? It's also quite the same. Many commercial property nobody will rent them again. I mean even though after pandemic nobody will rent them. or rentals property or random commercial property anymore, because they found that the current way of doing things, which is through online, is better, and everyone already adapt it. If you don't switch back, nobody will complain.
Yeah, they go live and then they found I think it's more customer to them. You can see some live market that they have a few thousands audience. Yeah, that is so much.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, any point you want to add in?
Yeah, I think that's all about what I want to cover today. So talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right. Yeah, goodbye.